Welcome back to another episode of On the Waters and Angling Adventures. That was wild. And that's why we call him the Stick.
Just a massive blitz.
Always appreciate fishing with you. The decision right now is where to go. You look out over the river and you're seeing just birds as far as the eye can see. There's something to be said for that Niagara River. When you get past the tourism aspect of the Niagara Falls, you want to go back there every year when it's 18 degrees. Tells you that it's a place you want to try.
This morning, Chris is going out on the boat with legendary Captain Frank Campbell. Today I'm fishing from shore, which is my favorite way to fish the Niagara River. And to start, I want to hit Devil's Hole. Before you can fish it, you've got to get down into the Niagara Gorge here, and you've got a whole series of stairs and switchbacks. So it's going to feel good going down, and if I catch some fish, it's going to feel real good going back up. But if I don't, that's usually a long slog back to the parking lot.
Frank Campbell, Outdoor Promotions Manager for Niagara Tourism. Frank, this is really cool. For us, for the most part on Cape Cod, things have really slowed down, but up here, what are we doing today on the water?
We're actually taking advantage of a lake trout season that just opened. There's also steelhead and brown trout. We're gonna be running a different variety of baits and kind of figuring out what they want, but it's a great opportunity this time of the year.
I have my Pat's hat on. Frank made me turn it around so you can't see the logo. All right, we're gonna head out. Let's see what we can't do on the water here up in Niagara.
Yep, let's get going.
Little chilly. Like you were talking there, you said that the water's been a little bit dirty. It doesn't look too bad right now.
Yeah, it's cleared up, and that's, you know, we have that in our favor. But what happens is Lake Erie not being frozen, when it gets wavy up there, it'll create, basically drag the mud off the shoreline, and the water gets dirty. So these fish are used to clear water.
You're right.
When the water gets dirty, the bite stops. As it clears, hopefully we're on the good side of the clearing.
You look out over the river and you're seeing just birds as far as the eye can see up and down the river. If you see that on the ocean, you're like, it's going to be a very, very good day, right? Because you're seeing all the birds, you know they're on bait. First question, Frank, what do the birds eat?
Gizzard shad, this is the very most northern range for gizzard shad. So once the water gets cold, they really don't like it. What happened was the river was coming out warmer than the lake, so
Yes.
they ran up in the river. And now the river is colder than the lake.
So now they're stunned.
Stunned, yep. The water temp in here is about 37.
Oh yeah, there's some nice fish down there, 28 feet of water. All right, here we go now, let's go.
I know you New England Patriots guys are tough, but
Oh yeah.
I'm just thinking that hat looks like it's pretty dusty, man. You haven't had it out in a while.
And so it starts.
You know, these guys got one heck of a young quarterback, though. There's a fish.
There's a fish.
I'm gonna get the small net out.
So Frank was giving me a hassle about my dusty Pat's hat.
Probably a brown trout. Oh, little guy. Little. We'll call this a warm-up fish. We're gonna look for something a little bit bigger.
So if you look out up front here, the opening of the Niagara River, and this fish is just, the colors on it are gorgeous. Now you can get a mixed bag in here, right? You can get like anything from steelhead to Lakers to brown trout. Right as we pulled up, Frank made about a 4-mile run from where we started down to the mouth here of the Niagara River. Lake Ontario, just over my shoulder here. It was perfect timing. We just started talking little Pats and buffalo stuff. And I think the good Lord said, you know what? It is a dusty hat. Maybe we are gonna give you a little treat. If anyone deserves what buffalo deserves when a jaw saddle, it certainly does. Yeah, I'm looking at that. Oh, here we go.
There's number 2.
A lot of people would say that this would be 2-zip Pats.
Well, I gave you the good bait.
He gave me the
That's all
good
I'm gonna
one.
say.
So this would be like, right now I have a safety on Frank. Of course, don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Ah, nice brown.
Gorgeous brown.
You got the mama of the last one we caught.
I'm gonna walk them right over your shoulder, Frank.
And we will be here waiting for you, I think, maybe, possibly, probably.
Oh, there it is.
Crazy.
Yeah, that is what we're talking about.
It's about 10 pounds or so.
Now, what's up with that? Did they clip that, or is that just an injury from way back?
No, that's probably just hatchery fish.
Hatchery fish. We're probably about 20 degrees. My hands can only take so much, but that is the definition of why you come up here fishing the Niagara River. Let's get this one right back in. Oh, that's beautiful. Frank, great call, huh? Coming down here.
Yeah. You want to know what? Sometimes you get lucky, but I mean, I knew the fish were on down here. It's just a matter of working around to get to them. We're gonna pull these in, go back up and make another drift, get your hands back to reality.
Like the Buffalo Bills, I have no doubt that Frank's gonna come back and take this one at the end. But for right now, we have a safety.
To me, fun to fish because it's how I like to fish in saltwater, are little paddle tail jigs. So this is a Rapala Crush City Mayor on a VMC jig head. You know, in describing how to fish these to me, a fellow saltwater guy said, it's just like bouncing a jig down the Cape Cod Canal, right down to all the snags you get. So you cast up current, let it hit bottom, and then just keep this thing lifting and dropping, getting that tail kick. And again, if there's a trout sitting there, steelhead or a laker or a brown, and it just bounces right in front of him and he's hungry, you're gonna get that bite. Come on. Get down there. There we go. There we go. He just hadn't had his morning coffee yet. Did see a big forked tail? Yeah, the Lakers don't have the fire of the steelhead, but they've got big heavy bodies, so they just kind of throw their weight around, so they'll bulldog you. There he is right there. It's not quite, there it is. That's a pretty lake trout. Kind of silver up a little bit. They get this real orange to them when they're spawning, so their spawn's pretty much over now. We're in the winter. So he'll silver up and get back to his kind of lake colors. This is the first fish of the day. So much of it's just figuring out how far up current to cast, how far you need to count down to get the bite. We're dialing them in. There he goes. First one of the day, first one of the trip. I don't know if Chris has caught one yet on the boat, but so far some early success. And yeah, let's see if there's some more out there, and then we got to go scoop up Neal in a little bit and keep this party going.
So it's so cold right now, you're probably about 12 or 15 degrees. So what happens is these guides are freezing up at the very tip. So I'm just gonna try to clear this without catching the bottom. Here we go, here we go.
What is this guy up to? I love it.
Run silent, run deep. All right, if I can get this one in to field goal. We move from a safety to a field goal. This guy feels like a very similar to that, kind of in between the first fish and the last fish, but don't count your chickens.
Oh, beautiful brown.
Nice brown.
Beautiful spawning color, male brown.
Look at the difference in that. So this is the third brown trout, 3 different colors. Gorgeous fish.
So you can see that's a male by the hook on his jaw.
The kite there?
Yeah, but it's beat up from spawning, so it's been through the spawning process.
Oh yeah. Gorgeous fish. This one, after I've held the first one, I'll hold the next one that gets bigger, Frank, but this is a beautiful fish. Then about brown trout, I've fished Oak Orchard, I've fished 18 Mile, Sandy Creek, all of those. Oak Orchard's really known for the brown trout, but one of the things that Frank said is that this is really a mixed bag. It can be anywhere from, the steelhead to the Lakers to the brown trout, and it's proven that way so far. 3 brown trout on the drift. Started fishing upriver, was you should feel that weight tick in the bottom every so often. So what I'm doing is I have the luxury of being able to see the depth. It started up here, we went through about 13 or 14 feet, but it's kind of like anything you do a drift like that, if you can follow the contour of the bottom by dropping or picking up and dropping and picking up, it seems like what Frank was saying, that these fish are hanging right on the bottom. Here we go, there we go.
This guy's on fire. I love it. Apparently I gave you the good lure.
You did.
I switched to the same color and it doesn't have the same UV on it, but holy cow.
You can look at the end of my rod. I'm actually reeling through ice.
Let's see what you got this time.
Might be a different fish because he's staying down.
I think you got
nope, another brown. That's a gorgeous color. That's a gorgeous fish.
We're gonna get him in the net. Beautiful fish, Chris.
Beautiful.
You know, you're seeing these fish at different colors, and it's actually the spawning phases that they're in, how far they're into the spawn, if they're post-spawn, if they're heavily spawned. This fish is probably just beginning to spawn.
You can tell, this is a lot like the first one, Frank.
Yeah, it's cold out. She's actually spitting her eggs as we're going out. Give her a second, and away she goes.
Awesome.
Good job.
We get the 4th fish in. I look over at him. He's got the exact same lure as me now. So now it's game on. 4-1, 4-2, 4-3, 4-4. All right, Frank. All right. I was only kidding you about the whole patch stuff.
So we changed locations. We moved downriver from Devil's Hole. And not only did we change locations, we changed techniques. So I'm fishing my center pin set up here to float fish. And instead of using bait fish imitations like spinners and paddle tails, I'm using egg imitations. So I'm using a couple chartreuse beads here that look like the lake trout eggs. So even though we're past the peak of the lake trout spawn, there's still some eggs in the system. And steelhead are just hardwired to attack and eat spherical objects. It is just part of their DNA that they want to eat eggs. They know that's an easy form of energy. It's an easy meal. So they see an egg tumbling downriver. If they're hungry, they're going to eat it. Neal Larson has joined us, and he's just a bit past me throwing paddle tails. And the report from the boat crew has been pretty good so far.
Now, Frank, are these fish on the move, or are they like their heads facing up? This thing comes over there and they spin on it and take it?
Yeah, they're pretty stationary. They're in maybe dips in the bottom behind rocks like you saw earlier. Anything to lessen the current, and they're not wasting energy.
So this is like the lure swinging past them and then just coming up and swiping at it.
That's pretty much what's happening. They're, you know, this is that reaction bite where you have, you know, fish maybe hiding behind a rock, and as they're coming by the rock, they feel it, they sense it, they see it, bam. You know, guys fish a lot of different ways, but ultimately it's, you know, looking at the same instincts from the fish, you know, whether it's, you know, the
striped bass or
yeah, exactly.
Brown trout.
Yeah, you're playing on their you know, their senses. So whether it's sight, sound, vibration, you know, something triggers them. We're just trying to do the best thing to trigger them.
Here we go.
I was just gonna say, we're gonna catch a fish out of deeper water, maybe.
Well, you got the last one in deeper water, right?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So that was a classic kind of like, you know, sitting where I'm sitting right now. Frank's up on the bow, and I'm sitting there looking at the electronics. I can tell that, you know, we're going from 13 to 14 to 15 to 16 to 20 to 21 feet. And you got to follow that bottom by just dropping back more line and more line and more line. If I stayed at the 10 feet, that fish is not going to come up.
No, you got to go with it. They're pretty bottom oriented. I'm going to come right over
There you go. Thank you. Double up. Oh, that would have been.
I didn't want to do that to you. I shook them off.
Yeah, thank you. That is a gentleman.
Yeah.
Nice buck, huh?
Beautiful buck.
I'm going to walk him right over your shoulder.
Walk him right into the beautiful fish, Chris. You know, that's what a way to end the day, though.
Guys, up here with Frank Campbell fishing the Niagara River. Incredible day out here fishing with you. And what a day, what a fish to end it on.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, Chris, we had a great day. Caught a bunch of fish. Didn't catch as many species as I thought we would, but you wanna know what? The browns were very receptive to the mag lips we put out there, and you gotta go with what's working.
We're gonna let this one get in the water because it's about 15 degrees. I think we got a snow front coming in here, and my right hand's about to lose it. Frank, I can't thank you enough. Unbelievable.
Great job, Chris.
We are like 2 weeks before Christmas, and this is an absolute treat.
It's like an early Christmas present.
This is an early Christmas. And the whole time I'm catching brown trout. After 8, 9, 10 of the brown trout, you're like, all right, I wonder if they're just tonguing the lake fish. And so the whole time in the back of your mind, like, you're having a great day, but what are they doing?
World's worst later.
After our last one we caught, it was time to head for the barn. We pulled up, pulled the boat out. Fortunately, our cottage, we weren't a half mile from there. Get back up, stow all the gear, and then it was time to head into Lewiston, which is the town that we stayed in. It is any town USA. We popped into this watering hole, great local food, you know, a couple beers by the fire. And to me, probably as fun as the fishing is, equally as fun as that is sitting there out on the town, knowing that you just caught fish, and then having the opportunity to sit with my crew and kind of reminisce about the day, and then call it a night before day 2 sets in on us. You have a different spring in your step on day 2 than you do on day 1. Day 1, you just drove 8 hours. You're excited about fishing that way, and you got a lot to get prepped before that. Day 2, you're in full swing mode.
Got him. That's a steal. Come on. Nice, healthy steelhead. Oh. It's steelhead, dude. Yeah, Lakers don't have that kind of fire to them. He's jumped a couple times. Oh. They're just one of my absolute favorite fish. Come on, just gotta lift them up. This is the tricky part in this river because it's deeper. We got a drop off there. So you gotta back up. Try to ease him into some shallow soft water and grab him. He's pretty much tired out. Okay. Come on. They just don't have any give up in them. Steer him right there. On that soft, low gravel. Get his head pointed towards shore. Oh. Hey, we were going to send him back anyhow. I'll go ahead and say that one counts. Because if Chris had answered the alarm and had the net right there, it's a caught fish. Yeah, so I got up a little bit early today, got here and secured the spot in the dark, thinking I'd have some more competition. Turns out on a day with a forecast like this, in the middle of winter, in the middle of the week, there's not a lot of competition down here. But got the fire going, got some good drifts in. It's just a little bit after sunrise, can finally get a good look at the float, and had my first fish of the day. Had the steelhead on just off the bank. Beautiful fish, got a good look at it. A hen steelhead, I'd say probably 8 pounds. And man, just a great fight. They're one of my absolute favorite fish to catch. They bite in windows, so hopefully the window's open for a little bit. Might not be long. That fish was on this top bead, this chartreuse bead. But all right, I'm gonna make that same drift again. Hope there's some, there's a couple buddies in there.
So we get all our gear together, we run out, start going down the thing like that. The snow starts out. It's a perfect temperature. It's gonna be light, fluffy snow. You're walking down, you see the smoke from the fire up ahead. You know, one of the guys further up, you saw him hook up on a fish, and you're like, this is why you do it.
covered a lot of ground yesterday. Only had one laker in the morning, and then the rest of the day just did not make anything happen. You guys had a great day in the boat, and so far today, already stuck a steelhead, so things are looking pretty good. We've got beautiful conditions, a fire going, and
we have the whole lower Niagara to ourselves. Let's get after it. Mr. Big lives right out there. Last year we went, when Jimmy and Neal and I were out there, we fished from shore, strictly by shore, and we just mugged them. We caught more lakers, and it was like November 30th, and it was just one of the coolest trips. And if you've never done this, it is absolutely worth the experience.
I'm moving along the river. I'm looking for little current seams, of which there's a lot. In a river this size, you'll see these seams will pop up, and the steelhead and the lakers, they'll tend to hang right on those seams. They'll be sitting on the soft side of it, waiting for eggs or small bait fish to be washed down on the fast side of the seam. So that's going to be your best areas to target, especially with a float fishing setup where you can basically walk your offering right down, right through the sweet spot. Not real happy with here. I'm going to keep moving up. I see a nice looking seam there where I'll be able to walk my float down a pretty good distance. And since there's nobody on the river today, you kind of have your pick of spots, which is pretty nice.
This is why we do it. We're here, everybody's casting, and you feel like on any given cast you're gonna hook up while snow's coming down, the fire's raging now, you got your coffee on the side, you're just like, there's no place I'd rather be. There's something to be said for that Niagara River when you get past the tourism aspect of the Niagara Falls and you get down into these smaller towns that are just quaint and just beautiful and wholesome. You want to go back there every year when it's 18 degrees, tells you that it's a place you want to try.